The following presentation is a production of WLWstudios.com. You are listening to the Midnight Jury, coming to you out of the fighting city of Philadelphia here on WLWstudios.com. And we are the Midnight Jury on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, TuneIn Radio. I am one of your hosts, the 21st century broadcasting marvel, Midnight Mike Norengarter.
I am fourth Adam Mule, Survivor Series Henning.
That was, you didn't have to add in fourth annual. That went way over the limit of need for your ridiculous names.
The only thing that would work was Adam and annual, so I came up with Adam Mule. Whatever. Fourth, yes.
Fourth Adam Mule.
Survivor Series Henning.
Terrific. And that does give right away what we're doing on today's show, and that is, I guess what is now clear, the fourth annual Survivor Series in 1990 out of Hartford, Connecticut. Correct?
No, that's exactly right.
Awesome.
A very notable Survivor Series, just in case.
Maybe to wet your whistle to keep you around for the rest of this episode, or those watching on YouTube can make sure to head over to iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn, or WLWstudios.com and finish the episode.
Yeah, well, just to wet people's whistles, you know, let the listeners and the viewers their whistles. We have the debut of The Undertaker, and also the debut of the very notable Gobbledygooker.
Very notable. Very respected.
Yeah, it's a piece of wrestling history. Something that cannot be forgotten.
I can't argue with you on that.
Yeah,
it is a piece of wrestling history.
For better or worse.
As we all know from the famous .com, it's wrestle crap.
Yeah, see the thing about it is wrestle crap.
Yeah, you can't deny it.
Man, it's wrestle crap, but.
You're doing. I feel like you're doing this to debate.
Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. It's not beautiful, and it's not serious wrestling. It's not watching a like The Godfather, and
okay. I'll give you that. I hope everybody understands that the writing and the execution of The Gobbledygooker is not the writing and execution of Francis Ford Coppola's The Godfather.
Here's what I'm saying, though. There are moments in wrestling where, like, you're deeply invested and you're really emotionally connected to what's transpiring.
Okay.
And
I wasn't.
No. And I
as a kid or now.
And I could see where you're coming from. And I think the best moments in wrestling, while there's so many like comedic moments, for example, Akeem is a funny phenomenon in wrestling and an entertaining one.
Yeah.
But the ones that the moments in wrestling that stick out in our minds, where we were so deeply invested in that, I threw my, I got pissed off and threw my NWO shirt down because when Goldberg beat the Giant, I've talked about it on past episodes. But that was
definitely worth it. Definitely worth that reaction.
I loved the NWO, and when Goldberg beat him, and I thought my faction was knocked down a peg, and my favorite wrestler was knocked down a peg because he lost to Goldberg. It was like deeply affected me. So something like the Gobbledygooker won't necessarily, cause that emotion to come forth in people, but there is, the Gobbledygooker is so fun,
he's not though. He's fun to make fun of, but he's not. Nothing about what he did was interesting to me in 1990, and nothing he did was interesting to me in 2016.
So it was more annoying.
Just like, what am I doing?
To me,
like if this happened to the live crowd, while pay-per-view viewers at home had the old Survivor Series logo screen, intermission, 10 minutes countdown.
Yeah.
If this happened with the live crowd, that'd be fine. Something to keep people interested for 10 minutes
Yeah.
while some go to the bathroom and get concessions and whatever. But to be on the show and to the lead up every week on Superstars and Wrestling Challenge, it's like, what's inside this egg? This egg will hatch at the Survivor Series. And even Mean Gene, we'll get to it.
Yeah. No, but yeah, no. I think that's how I look. That's one way to look at it. It's like, what the hell is this? It's first of all, it's not wrestling, and it's so stupid and whatever. But I look at it as the
You know how they could have marketed it even better?
how.
If they didn't do any lead up to it, and then when Survivor Series came on the air, who was the color? Roddy Piper? Okay. So Roddy Piper gets on and goes, so there's this stupid egg just here in the arena, and then it's going to hatch. We don't know what's happening.
Yeah.
You know?
That
That was my terrible hot rod.
No. Fair enough. So
Rest in peace.
you're right. I'm coming from I'm almost like so tired of hearing the ridicule for the gobbledygooker that I'm almost like going to the other side of the fence in just sort of.
You can get a gobbledygooker shirt?
See, if I got a gobbledygooker shirt, it would be ironic, and I'd be making fun of it, and I'd just be I'd be joining the ranks. And I'm not saying it's not worth.
I don't want to show that disrespect to Hector Guerrero.
And I'm not saying it shouldn't be made fun of, but what I am saying is that a Thanksgiving mascot, like what you're saying, basically you're presenting a more moderate kind of approach to the gobbledygooker. And that's what I'm really saying at the heart of it, is that having a Thanksgiving mascot turkey, a guy in a turkey outfit on Thanksgiving night, right? That this pay-per-view was Thanksgiving night. So
Was it still at this point? I know they.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, I was surprised because I know they moved it to like the night before
Yeah,
at certain
Thanksgiving
points.
Eve.
Yeah, this one I'm pretty sure, and it's in the notes here. I'm 90% sure it was the Thanksgiving night tradition. Gorilla says that. So anyway, having like a mascot for that holiday is not offensive to me, and I could see kids really loving it. WCW had Wildcat Willie, who was at he would hang out by the set of Nitro and like do like cheerleading stuff, and that to me that there's no problem with that for the live crowd, but that kind of goes to what you're saying, is that for the live crowd that's not necessarily a problem, but I guess what you're saying is that it didn't need to be this hyped up thing for weeks and weeks and weeks. Because honestly, I wasn't watching at the time, and I was watching at the time as a 5-year-old, but I don't remember it. So, but the point is, I don't remember the lead up, so I could picture being completely
But it was
let
so
down.
stupid and lame that it'd be like them doing an egg thing on opening day of the Phillies. And you know the Philly Fanatic, who's
Yeah.
the mascot of the Phillies. It'd be like they announce that there's this egg that's going to hatch, I don't know, at the All-Star break halfway through the season. And all they lead up all season to it, and even the Philly Fanatic is like, what's in this egg? And then it finally hatches, and it's just another Philly Fanatic. And everyone's like, boo, like, what? Or even better, it's like a Philly Fanatic, but like, you know, when you see those people in like Times Square dressed up as like superheroes or like Mickey Mouse or whatever, but they're always like off-brand Mickey Mouse.
Yeah.
Okay, it'd be like Philly Fanatic jumped out to the real Philly Fanatic, and it was their new mascot, who is just a bootleg version of the Philly Fanatic,
you
like a
saying
cheaper
that-
costume.
Are you saying that Mean Gene is the mascot?
Kind of. I wasn't saying that, but now that you said it, he's kind of like that era's mascot of the WWF.
No.
Because he always did stupid, goofy crap.
Yeah.
And he was always on TV, and he was always there rooting you on.
Yeah, and he was always a big personality. And you're right, because he didn't do ring introductions, and he also didn't do commentary, though he did those things on occasion. More than anything, he was almost like just the mascot, like
Yeah.
the spokesperson in a way.
More of a spokesperson, but
So I guess in conclusion...
yeah. In conclusion of
regarding the
this time on the gobbledygooker, because I have one more thing before we.
Okay. The final thing is just that I think that the execution was I think they miscalculated big time. I think they thought, and I think that's the joke. Ultimately, that's the big joke, is that they thought this would be a hit, that it was something that was worth building up for weeks and weeks and weeks, and that they thought people would be really, really happy with this payoff.
Who?
Probably Vince. Honestly, yeah,
That's outrageous.
I would. Somebody definitely thought that. I mean, Vince signs off on all this stuff, so I would assume that he at least thought that, if not other people as well. But if it hadn't been executed like that, I am not inherently offended by having a mascot in wrestling. I'm not inherently offended by having somebody in a silly costume in wrestling. I think wrestling is a variety show, and I think that you could have any number of silly things in it as long as the whole show isn't silly things. I think you should have a spread. What is it called? When you
to me, a silly thing is like Eugene. Not that Eugene was the best.
Eugene can be
but
a silly
but
thing.
Still, that's the gobbledygooker. Like, were they actually planning on one day having him wrestle?
I've always heard that was the plan.
Me too. What?
Having
that
him
doesn't
do
even make
silly,
sense.
Silly, almost like
I guess
midget-
they hadn't gone through Mantar yet. I mean, it hadn't happened yet. They didn't get that these big costumes do not work wrestling a match.
I think it would have been like a middle of the show.
I don't think Mantar he didn't ever wrestled in the thing, but he couldn't even get in the ring with it.
Yeah.
So,
well, I think they figured it out, and they did not wind up airing him failing to get in the ring because the head was too big. So I think the only people that saw that were the people there live, and then like Vince Russo's talked about it because he was there when it happened. I'm sure the footage exists. I don't think the public's seen it. But it would be like a comedy match, like a midget match used to be, where you had the gobbledygooker fighting some jobber, and then the gobbledygooker does all kinds of flips and stuff, and then he winds up winning, and then the kids cheer.
I would kill myself. Anyway, the last thing I wanted to say, and actually the only topic...
Buffet was the word I was looking for before when I was like, you need a buffet in wrestling. That's what I'm trying
to say. The
only
only topic that I wanted to bring up is that this was not the best Survivor Series up until this point or whatever, but it was the best laid out. Every Survivor Series in the history of the Survivor Series from this one on should have been this exact model.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe a championship match. That's it. There should have always been every match is a team match, except for maybe a world title match or a special intercontinental title match. Other than that, every other match. You know how they should have done it is...
So that there is a sole survivor or surviving team.
So what they should have done is... This is close. That's close to perfect as they've ever gotten, but in my opinion, even to this day, and what they should do is play off to the crowd that the final winning survivors get like $1 million, or $100,000, or something.
These types of things have been thrown around. I've heard other people talk about
this. And the wrestlers are the ones who make you believe that this is important.
What about the final two survivors being
Not the final two. Whoever survives at the very end wins.
Well, in this case, we have Hogan and Warrior.
Okay.
But what if those two win?
Spoiler alert.
What if those two win the final two spots?
All over everything.
What if they win the final two spots in the Royal Rumble? Something like that. You know what I mean? So that there's a...
Oh, that's great.
But that is pretty far away, and then I don't know.
The final survivors are the final people into the Rumble.
But even at the time, the Rumble didn't guarantee a world title shot.
Correct, but it would in this world.
Yeah.
But anyway,
that there's some sort of benefit to
but
winning.
What they should always have had is 4 or 5 matches, Survivor Series style. All the survivors go into the final match at the end of the night, and with that stipulation, and then the in-between match is either your world title or your intercontinental title or tag team titles. Each year, whatever title you feature a belt there with a big storyline behind it.
Yeah.
And now, and now I know they have a Survivor Series match here and there, but now it became just a pay-per-view.
Well, here's
like how degrading to the history of this event. Like the first few 4 or 5, 6 Survivor Series were the best. Like I loved the Survivor Series, and there was no guarantee of anything except pride. And these
Yeah.
wrestlers made you believe that they wanted that pride.
We've talked about it on past episodes where we've covered Survivor Series, and we've talked about this in general. But the thing that made Survivor Series special at the time, and I feel like a broken record, was the fact that every week leading up to Survivor Series, what was the pay-per-view before Survivor Series? SummerSlam, right?
Yep.
So that's September, October, November. So that's 3 or 4 months where you did not have big names fighting each other. So you had to wait 3 or 4 months, or you had to go to either a house show or you had to watch the pay-per-view to see the big names face off against each other. And to see these types of matches where you're seeing so many big names face off against so many big names.
And seeing some of your favorites team up with some of the other favorites.
You're seeing combinations that you never thought, that you never saw before. That's what made the Survivor Series special.
Like the most devastating team in history, Hulk Hogan, The Ultimate Warrior, and Tito Santana.
Yeah, no, exactly. That it's such an interesting piece of WWF history that like Tito Santana was. Those three were like a warrior unit. Like they went into battle together, and it's.
Wow, did you put that over?
No,
Wasn't that part of their promo?
I believed.
That's what the Warrior probably would have said.
This was the.
We are warrior unit.
And this is the Godfather of the wrestling world. Those
Is that
three
a
going.
second Godfather reference?
Yeah,
Okay, just making
those
sure.
three going into battle together.
Gobbledygooker was worse than Godfather 3.
I haven't seen any of the Godfathers actually,
Okay.
which is pathetic. But anyway, the point is that also having so many established superstars in the same event allowed storylines to progress. So you see like the seeds being planted. You're seeing sort of the continuation of certain storylines that again you did not get to see happen in such rapid succession in those 3 or 4 months since the last pay-per-view. So you knew that when you tune into a pay-per-view, big things were going to happen.
Yeah.
Nowadays
Pay-per-views were so special.
No, exactly. Nowadays big things happen every week on Raw and SmackDown. Where the pay-per-view, it's like you're actually less likely to see something special on a pay-per-view almost these days. Except, WrestleMania, that there's an exception for that. The bottom line is it comes down to overexposure. The WWE and the wrestlers themselves are overexposed now. So it's not special to see 4 of them fight for Dolph Ziggler, the Usos, and name any.
Well, and another thing,
combination. It's not
another thing
special.
is, another thing is that they do so many tags and 3-man 3 and whatever, but also today in WWE all the characters are just people.
Correct.
So it's not like you're seeing a cop team up with a Pacific Islander teamed up with just all these crazy gimmicks coming together into one match, and somehow they have to put them together. Like when Slaughter's
come
team,
up with a team gimmick.
like Slaughter's team, they had the Orient Express in like camouflage makeup, and like everybody, General Adnan was in makeup, and Mr. Fuji was in makeup.
No, exactly.
Like they did a lot of crazy fun shit. Anyway,
there was creativity layered on top of creativity, and it's a really unique and interesting presentation.
All right, well, we are the Midnight Jury. We're on WLWstudios.com, along with the Midnight Jury feeds. Just search Midnight Jury on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, and TuneIn Radio. Of course, Adam, myself, and our co-host Cal, who's not here today because we're doing a wrestling topic, he's here for some of them. We can all be followed on Twitter at Midnight Jury, at Facebook, WLW Studios, or it's at WLW Studios and at Midnight Jury on Facebook. What else am I missing? Leave reviews.
Yeah, I actually wanted
leave
to
reviews on iTunes.
I've been meaning to mention that regarding the iTunes reviews, just to quickly walk somebody through it on an iPhone. Go to the podcast app on your iPhone. Even if you are already subscribed to the Midnight Jury, go to the search option, type in Midnight Jury. When we pop up, click on our logo. There are 3 options. There's like in the middle are reviews, so you can look at other people's reviews of our show.
We bet you could write a better one.
on that page where you can look at the reviews of our show via the search option.
Actually, all the reviews are outstanding.
Yeah,
I just,
the
I just
review-
want people to try to make them even better.
Yeah, the reviews are very good. Honestly, write whatever you think of the show. Honestly, I'm not saying only go there if you have something exceptional to say. Honestly, write whatever you want, because that's actually a criticism that I've noticed in other podcast reviews, is that like other podcasts will incentivize people to give them higher reviews than maybe they deserve. I'm fairly confident in our show, and put what do you think?
I disagree. 5-star reviews only, people, because that's the only thing that keeps you moving up in this world.
I
5-star,
yeah.
positive review. That's what we want from you.
I have
And if you
confidence.
can't give us that, go fuck yourself.
I have confidence that they'll be good. But on the review page where you can look up reviews of our show, there is an option, write a review, and you click on that, and it asks you to put your iTunes ID in, and you are able to write your own review. So I just wanted to clarify, because maybe somebody's never gone to write an iTunes review for a podcast before, but it's the podcast app. Go to search. Even if you're already subscribed to our podcast, you have to leave a review through the search option, and that's how to do it. I just wanted to clarify that.
Terrific. What we're going to do is we're going to do some ads, of course, like each week. We're going to do our TV show. No, not TV show theme of the week. Our wrestling theme of the week. And then we'll be back to do 1990s, 4th annual Survivor Series. We'll be back on the Midnight Jury.
Talk to you then.